This is Joan Wheeler on August 19, 2024 at Carnegie Shadi Memorial Public Library. I am here to interview Adrian about his background as a person who has immigrated to the United States. The first question, Adrian, is when and where were you born?
We were born in Lima, Peru, 1983.
Can you tell me a little bit about your family background?
Well, from both sides, mom and dad, they were from province. So, far away from the capital, farmers, I would say, that with the aspiration of course, a better life, they moved to the capital. And pretty much that's my background. They're like 100% native Peruvians.
Were you around when they moved to the capital, or was that before you were born?
Oh, that was before I was born.
So you grew up
I grew up in the capital.
in Lima. What would you say your life was like as you were growing up in Lima?
Well, I would say, my childhood was got a little bit of everything. One of the thing that my childhood was or got or have was, there was a lot of freedom. I remember in the way of there was a lot of kids around the neighborhood, and I go outside on the street and play with them. They were, from the block, from the neighborhood. And other thing is, well, thanks God, my father got a I will say a decent job to keep us safe and good with the basic thing that a family needs. He was in the military, Marine to be exactly, and he provided the education, like going to a school, decent school. So I grew up having I would say, the bliss of being educated in a good school compared to my other friends from the neighborhood. Mom was also, she studied to become like a nurse, and luckily she didn't finish her career. So my mom has a type of higher education, I would say. So both of my parents went to school. They got their GED or high school diploma. So they got knowledge. They knew what they were doing, and they were doing the best for us, for me and my brothers.
And how many kids were in your family?
Well, four of us. We were four siblings, four brothers.
And why did you leave your home in Lima?
Dreams, aspirations, personal aspiration, I would say. So once I finished high school, one of the aspirations, like a lot of people or students who leave high school, is go to college. And I think that took a little while, took little challenges personally for me and as well for my family. And but I could make it. I went to college, and through college I got the opportunity to come to the U.S. And being here, wow! By now I remember, the chance to study here was like one of my dream or aspirations, to have a bachelor's degree or have I don't know, master. So there was something like I was like I could get, because I knew some other people like me, or students or people who were here already, were like, you can study here, will be no problem. And then really, and then that was one of the main things that I decided to stay or reside in the US, here in Wisconsin. The other thing that made me stay was mainly is because the career that I chose, that I was a hospitality. There was so many resorts, hotels, restaurants around, and I was like hunger of learning and improve my career. And one day I was like, oh, if I wanna make a good resume by having a good experience, maybe I come back to my country and do, like have a good backup and probably get a really good position job back there. Pretty much that's the reason why I stay.
At the time that you were planning to come to the United States, how did you make those arrangements for you to leave the country and come to the U.S.?
Well, Back there, I got a couple of friends. I was in my fourth year of college. By that time, I knew some friends came to the United States through this work and travel program a year before me, and they got experience to stay in the U.S. for a few months, like exchange students, learn, improve their language. I mean, English for sure, of course. Um, get to know the culture, travel, and well, I got one friend. She got a chance opportunity for by her employer to extend her visa and stay, and she stayed for a year. So, like I'm saying, there was other friends as well that they were here, and when they came back and shared that experience, sounds so well. I don't know if I would say realistic or maybe even irrealistic, like to like believe that you can get opportunity. Well, they came back because they wanted to come back. They wanted to be with their family. They miss their family. They miss the friends, the culture, or their habits in Peru. But there is some other viewers that they saw the opportunity to make themselves here, and probably I think that's what it was in my mind at some point. But like I'm saying, being as a college student in Peru could get open doors in many ways, not just coming to the US, just to have nice, really good jobs or be part of really good, well known groups in the country and outside the country.
So, what was it like to begin living in the United States?
Well, particularly for me, I mean, it wasn't easy. Um, was kind of challenging and tough. Yes, first, the language. That I think for a lot of people could be a big barrier if you are not 100% knowledge of English. I wasn't fluent. I couldn't understand very well. And of course, living in a speaking English community, I mean, you must have to speak. You might have to understand. You might have to listen. So it took a while. To get it. That was one of the big challenges that I had. Second of all, I will say the culture itself, the way of doing things or think about certain mm, life matters or life expectations or even the routine were were different or are still different at some point. I mean, I am much better understanding of how things going and work around me now, even though I'm living here. Um, the weather was one other factor too, coming from a Latino country yeah, the weather over there down there is different. Get to the winter here, the fall, the winter was another challenge. The season, the work of the type of job that I get into it, the cycle of up and downs. Like for example, whenever it's summertime or spring, we get busier, and whenever we get in the fall or in the winter, it's getting a little slower. So sometimes we got so much day off or laid off, whatever you want to call it. Then we didn't know what to do, and it was all about. And again, the weather made it a little even worse because it got darker right away. Made a little depressed too. Other thing was the family, missing the friends. I mean, we could get in touch, through the high five or Facebook or the like social media. Now, I mean, nowadays it got a lot. But back then, it still was a couple of barriers. Even I remember some people were calling buying phone cards or having walkie talkies to international calls. So I mean, it was missing that. I think we Latinos are much like to be in a group with a family, with friends, like to hang out a lot, and more of us we didn't have that. I was one of them too. So that was a challenge to leaving behind the family and friends, and the ways of hanging out when I was there.
Okay, what positive experiences have you had living in the US?
I'm gonna tell you this first. One of the things that I learn myself who I am is I think I'm a person that don't quit. And one quote that is well known here in the US is don't give up. I believe that I have that in myself. I don't give up. And because of that, I think that has been the resilient way, I would say, that I get a lot of good things, such as, for example, through work, I started like more of outcome people or outsider, foreign people who come and like, start from the bottom, like we were saying, hanging out in that level of work position, if you wanna call, but looking my way to improve, to get better. I found opportunities through work. So like I remember starting as a pizza maker or line cook. Well, line cook was one of the things that I like to cook anyway. So, but I really wanted to be involved, for example, with a kitchen, and I wanted to learn, and I put a lot of effort in learning all the time. It was tough, like I'm saying, with all the things that I described to you already, but by the years and I earned managers and owners. I don't know how can I say this. Treat, respect, and my admiration. That I got opportunities to become a supervisor, somebody in charge, for make some responsibilities and commitments that they were asking for. So manager in some point I was for a while too. That was one of the main things that I had, and still the habits of being a manager or people in charge, the responsibility is still on me, because I mean I'm taking wherever I go. Even I work on myself right now, with my family right now. I mean those habits that I making myself to work it out every day at that time are still in me. Of course, I'm not perfect, but more of them are still like I can show and people can see it. And for me, thanks God, like I'm saying, it's a blessing. Became a normal part habit for my life nowadays. Um, Try to learn how the culture is, what it's about, how it works. Nobody wants to be like somebody told me one day. Nobody wants to be different than the other ones or being excluded from the other ones. I'm not saying I'm gonna be as everybody else because it's something also that's been teach or taught. But I gotta make a way of like, how can I be myself without no quitting myself in this society, in this speak English, I will say white community as well. I mean, even though there is a diversity, the majority of the people were white, and of course I'm Latino, and my skin speaks for by himself. But I never felt different. Being honest with you, I will pretty much always treat everybody as the same, and that's pretty much sometimes I get upset because I was probably thinking that I will get the same, but in fact, I mean, sometimes it doesn't work in that way. But even though, I mean, I was still always respectful for more of the people, and I still do. Now I got more knowledge, I'm more mature. I'm pretty much know I kind of like know how things work, but I still, for trust me, with most part, I respect everybody how they will deserve. Even though sometimes I don't deserve, but I know it's the best way to do it.
When did you say that you came to this area?
The end of 2006. It's been a while that I'm here.
What could make your living situation here better?
I don't know how to answer that to you exactly. You know why? Because in the last years, I've been li- leaving behind certain habits or people or activities to do things that are making me better person, or they are making things that can directly, indirectly, consciously, and unconsciously make me or makes me better around me. Mostly is beat my own fears for me. Like sometimes, and this is something that I hear from people now. You cannot do this, you cannot do that, you cannot reach this, it's impossible. No, I don't think you can do it. And I've been facing a lot of those comments or sayings, even from some friends, being like they call friends, but I already learned that. I mean, not everybody's gonna be like cheering you for you. But I've been reaching or achieving certain goals that I put on myself, and that's I wanna make a I wanna remark. No matter what it is with the situation in the country right now, as long as you keep up cool, as long as you keep up patient and work it out for the aspiration that you want, that's gonna I think is gonna be the best formula or alternative you to live better. Because thing came to me after a while. And if you're really gonna ask me what I really need me, to be better or get better in my life at this point, I would say life, God gave me so far what I needed the most. Now, of course, I still got some other dreams, some other achievement that I would love to do, and I know that eventually I'm gonna reach them. But I will say mostly health, be healthy as much as possible. That will be one of the things. Um, for that, I mean, I'm glad that the country, the system is helping not just foreign people. I think it's helping citizens themselves or residents around here to keep healthy in different ways with different programs, different activities. Even they get the government give you the insurance. I mean, there is so many ways that is right there that anybody in general can 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 get or can have. Even a tiny piece of health being good for not just for ourselves, it's, for everybody else who come for us or with us. Could be your mom, your dad, your brother, your son, your daughter, your wife, your girlfriend. So you need to be first of all healthy for to be there. Another thing is maybe have a job where they really pay what you are worth it, what you are, what it is. Because I've been finding out that because in this case, all right, unfortunately, no, not just happen in the U.S., happen in a lot of places around the world. Because you are not from here, or because you are a little different than other ones, unfortunately, they get a cut. So there is not equal pay. Other thing is that could be in one point, for example, I couldn't obtain certain type of jobs, or I couldn't reach certain type of documents just because I was undocumented. There was not easy ways how to get the documentation that we needed to have to establish and mentally have a relief to keep progressing or keep having a normal life. Sometimes that's and I still for not just I mean thanks God I'm blessed and fine now. But there was some other people, or still some other people that they really well deserve the opportunity to have an ID, to have a license, to have a residency, what people call a green card. There is people who really make things way for the good of the community and for the farmers as well. I know, I seen it. And one of the last thing is like you were mentioned before, to try to understand each other, to try to understand, to try to let them know the different groups about what we are here about, what were the main reasons why we are choosing to come to the US, Um, and more of the time is like you were saying for better life. But let me say this also, and I agree with this. For having a better life, sometimes you have to face challenges that through the time, through the year, you either where you mature and learn with it and go with it and grow with it, or as I said before, too, they can wash you out if you don't want to put on yourself, if you don't are not willing to like, okay, what is the bad thing or the right thing I have to do? And so I seen some other friends or people that I knew that unfortunately they went that way and they get that noble part. They are not here in the way of their physical presence. Some of them passed away. Some other one went back to their country. get educated, get educated, learn how to live in the countries will be another good thing to do for the outsiders for us to understand what it is to live in the United States. For example, here in Wisconsin, in Baraboo, the Dells, Reedsburg, Sauk City. Because honestly, I don't know about other states. I don't know other big cities, but there is great opportunities around the area for sure. And the way of living, we got the nature outside. We got a beautiful bluff, views, river, lake, where beautiful weathers too. Eventually, you can adapt to. It's just I need to like let everybody understand how it is and what will come if you do the thing in the right way. You know, and be there to guide them, to support them. Because in one point of my life, when I was in tough situational moments, God, I will say always I'm gonna put God, put people on my way that advise me. I ask a lot of questions. I always do ask a lot of questions too. As you've seen before to start the interview, I ask you questions about what this is about, who you are, stuff like that. I like to ask questions and I could get answers. Maybe it took a while ago, but I get answers about how it is and what it is about living here. And there are nice people still outside. And when I say people still outside, I'm talking in general. Americans, Latinos also, that we want advice, we want hug, we want cheer. That means a lot. That means a lot. That give you faith and hope. As long as you want to keep doing the right thing, that means a lot.
Do you have fears on a day to day basis or underlying fears that you have to deal with?
Uh, Not a fear, but all right. This is a thing. Let's talk about. Look, I don't want to talk about it because I'm not a political person, but I have to mention something. I mean, when Donald Trump became president, when was it? 2016, right? While I was working, I was living in the community. I moved from Wisconsin Dells to Baraboo at that time. Moving from the Dells to Baraboo was a transition, was tough. They are two kind of close towns, it's just 10-15 minutes, but them they are so in so many ways they are different. The way of living is totally different. While this one have 24/7, the other one he has a routine, it's more calm, I would say Baraboo. But like more like that community or group or culture, I would say, white people. I work in a restaurant over here where mm, pretty much 99% of the staff were white. I think I was the only Latino at that time. And so part was good too, because for all the opportunities that I like, for example, I push myself to speak the language. I need to be more 100% understanding, reading, speaking, and get to know how people do things or how the way of thinking, stuff like that. I mean, helps a lot. I'm glad that I live, I'm still do, and work because that made me get better understanding how the, the culture is around here in general. And I adapt certain habits, a lot of good habits of what it is to live here around the area. That's something that I don't know if I could get it over living in the Dells, being honest. But it helps a lot. Made me grow, made me mature too. Coming back to the political point, I wasn't afraid. I don't watch much news, being honest. Lately I cannot do, but back then, no. Always I was focused on my daily routine, my responsibility with my son, with work and everything. I didn't pay much attention, but from other, I still got some friends living in the Dells. and they were always talking about Donald Trump and what he was saying, what he was doing, all the threats that for not just Latinos in general from the outside. They're like, I feel more afraid there than from them on also than I did. But now I never got any issue with anybody back then. That now I don't know. I can feel there is still. I mean something. I personally right now would say something is I don't know. Maybe going on. I see like I'm saying like I told you I've been seeing more news and yeah I can see how the parties are acting on ones against the other one against each other and well honestly I don't like that. It's like you know I mean of course it's a rally they're trying to reach their own goals but at some point sometimes they're hurting each other and they're making not just the upsides that even the citizen to think their version of reality or their version of what it could be called truth. And sometimes I can say they may over, I don't know how to say, overload, over. The point is that whatever both parties are making the public know their point of view and impacting in the daily life, like for example, again, I got an issue twice with like you gotta better go back home or like what I'm doing here. Um, you don't have your green card. Look, I'm pretty mature enough. I'm gonna tell you this. I'm pretty mature enough that how to respond to. I still, of course, I in my side my pride that like I wanna, I probably answer back to one of them when I hear that I was Mexican, that I didn't got my green card. To that person, I mean, I was really like mad about it. Like I said, I got one issue before that. I got an issue with somebody at work, and I know that I pretty much manage myself to don't get myself in trouble. But I just when the person told me go back home, that was one of the reasons I quit that job. I never told them, the owner of the restaurant I was working why I really have the reasons why I quit. I got my personal reasons, but the other issue, and mostly with a little, I don't know what to say, inconvenience that I got with a coworker. That was one of the other probably 5 or 6 reasons why I quit. But I still remember because it bothered. And then a couple of months passed, I got another job, and this job is totally different than what I did before. It's a lot of physical, a lot of carrying, a lot of moving, work to going to gas station, market stores. I mean, well, you 100% know, but you meet a lot of people, different people, every day. And look, you can have a bad day, but I think that you gotta know how to manage to control that. I've learned how to do that, and you bad day won't gonna ruin my day. Let me tell you that, because I'm in control of what is coming into me. But I may gonna say something if that's the case. Some people say, "Oh, do you like to confront?" Well, honestly, I'm a person that when it's necessary to mention or say something, I will. Maybe not at the moment, not the point, but it's something that is starting to be so disrespectful or like getting too much, or even from one moment is really like not good, like it's attacking me. I'm not gonna say it in a mirror because I know myself in the mirror, like, okay, hey, what's up? What's going on? And I've been called, look, I have Mexican friends, with all respect to them. I have no problem when the guy called me like that. I didn't have my reasoning. I got no problem like that. I was respectful when while I was in the store working, by being done working, leaving the store the person got mad because I closed the door. I was getting out from the place that I supposed to close, and I didn't even notice that this guy was outside, and he was asking to leave it open. But at that morning, was cold, was winter, was the weather, and that person was far away, was inside of his truck, his van, his little trailer. Couldn't even see it, couldn't even hear anything. Just leaving the place, I heard something from far away, and I saw somebody was so pissed. And then I said, "Hey, are you okay? What's up?" And then when I start all the yelling from the person, and then I hear all the stuff that I just told you, and then came to me face to face. Okay, so that's when I know when it's time to protect yourself, when it's not. So even the police got involved because I called it too. I mean, I've learned certain things here, so I want to make that not just that could be any person. No, I'm not taking for the color of the skin on it, but could be anyone. Just have to be respected in any manner the first time overall. And the police investigate, and the owner of the store check on the videos, talk to the police, talk to my boss, and even my own boss said, "Yeah, I saw the videos. I've been saying it." And actually, look, one thing that happened was that my boss have to do certain routes that I do, and made this guy. He's another, he's a merchandiser, well vendor. He had a chance to meet him, and some issues happened. He told me himself with this guy that I had a problem too. So I said, "Listen, I know who I am. I know what I do. If you get a chance to know this person, and this person gave you what he gave to me, now you know who you are talking to, as well for him, and as well for me." And like you said, because the other person gets the owner or manager of the store tell you who I am or what I did, and he told you because the manager of the store told himself to talk to in person. A few days later, he said to me, "You pretty much did everything that's supposed to be done while you were at the store and you were when you were leaving. And what you did," he said, "I would recommend you to be a little wiser, but I think you did, for the most part, you did the right thing to protect yourself or to do what you did." And he told that to my boss. And for those reasons, I didn't get fired. I didn't get right out. I get nothing like that. In certain point, I appreciate it, but I more for most part because, like I said, in all these years living here, seeing other people experience, have taught me how I have to handle certain situations. And like I said, that's how I've been lately. So if you ask me if I'm afraid, concerned I will say, but not afraid. But for sure I gotta like keep up on take care of myself or look over my shoulders every time, no matter what. Because you never know how the person is gonna respond. At least for when even though when you say hi, because nowadays is you say hi to people with more stuff like that. Some people will say to you good morning. Some people won't. Well, it's not you, it's them. So what can I do about it? Little challenging now how to be around with some political things and stuff. But I wish sometimes we as outsiders we could learn or know this kind of lesson that I already know. So in that way we can approach things in a smooth way, nicer way, better way, be more smart for our responders. Because some of us, I would say maybe Hispanics, one of the outsiders, because I'm Hispanic. Sometimes we don't think very well. We just react, and sometimes cannot give us the best answer that we would love to have. That's not good, you know. So that's why I'm saying being educated to know how things work will be a benefit to for for us or for everybody who is foreign.
Where do you see your future?
That's a good question too. Well, I think I see the most living in still in the country here in the United States, in Wisconsin. I got a son who is already a teenager. He's still in the early times of teenager. He's one of my main reasons why I'm still around, why I am still doing the best I can. Has been I got my family in Peru that last year was the first time after probably 16 years that I could get a chance to travel. It was a while ago. It's been a while too. I got my dad, my mom there, my brothers. That in some point some of them, few of them, did their best to try to come to visit us. When I say us, it was me and my son. And thanks God they couldn't make it. They did. As I said, last year was the first time ever for 16 years I've been there, and I would love to be back, be there. I don't think I'm gonna ended up my. If God gave me life, I don't think I'm gonna end up getting dying there. I think it's gonna be just here. I think I called Wisconsin Baraboo home now.